welcome back to my channel. This is Gamer Dom, and Frontlines is back. Well, almost back. So this is Harkonnen's Daily Bounce blog reporting the much anticipated news that Frontlines is coming back. So if you remember, this was for newer players and those with forgetful memories, this was the massed battle mode, only for tier 8 tanks, only all tier 8s. And it was an attack defense game, 30 tanks aside, fighting on 3 different fronts, all linked together. And the idea was the attacker had to get to the end and blow up some gun emplacements to win the game, and the defender had to stop them. And you could, depending how quickly you died, you could run out with a different tier 8 once you were killed. There were respawn points. There were recharge points to recharge any damage and equipment. I mean, it was just terrific fun. I think everybody really enjoyed it. It was also a hugely profitable game mode in terms of credits you could generate. Games went on a lot longer, but as you went up through the ranks, you could improve your abilities. If you managed to get to the top rank in the game, like General, in that frontline battle, you could increase your earnings by even more. So it's coming back. It's been talked about for a while that Frontlines would come back, and that it's going to be limited in its run out. So it's going to run for 10 weeks. The plan is from patch 1.4, which is due in a couple of weeks now, they will run Frontlines for 10 weeks, 1 week in every calendar month. So February, March, April, May, June through, I guess, to November, and maybe leave December free. So each week of the front line will be known as an episode, and between the episodes you can't play Frontlines. So that's kind of how it is at the moment. So much of it remains the same, but there's some really interesting updates to the mechanics of Frontlines. So much like you'll remember, as you played the game, depending on how you performed in the battle, you went up from private through the different ranks to general, and as I said, that increased your credit generation, your experience generation. If you got to general, there's only limited numbers of each rank within the game, so the best performers became general, then major, captain, blah blah blah. So that will continue. You also earn special experience, frontline experience, for each new rank, for reaching new ranks. So that's what I say, you get boosters. You use frontline experience to boost your frontline tier. Okay, that's all the same, and you get rewards for reaching different tiers in Frontlines. So when you get to the top, I can't remember how often they were in the old one, but up to the top of 30 tiers you got basically rewards as you went through it, which was nice. And you could activate a special prestige mechanic once you reach frontline tier 30 to begin the process again and earn it all again. So that's how it worked before. You could cycle around. You got to 30, then you'd recharge, go back again. It meant you had to, if you remember, things like the artillery strike and the air strike and that sort of thing were less effective when you were at tier 1, so it was a risk. You got to 30, you had the full benefit of all the different goodies you could put on the tanks, but then when you went back to 1 again, you had to start again effectively with that, but in exchange you got opportunity to win more bonus stuff and what have you. So that was all cool. So what they're doing now as well, on top of all that, is that you can activate that prestige mechanic up to 10 times instead of 3 times. Basically once for every episode of Frontlines. Okay, so basically you can get to tier 60 with each time. Achievement of prestige levels is limited by +2 prestige levels from the current Frontline episode. Oh, so you could do all 10 in fairly quick order. So week 2, so presumably that's going to be, where are we, February, March time, you could get to prestige 4, and then, which would be 2 + 2, and then the third one you could get to 5, because that would be 3 + 5. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think it does. So it basically means that if you're away for 1 week when it happens to happen, it allows you to catch up later in the the run of the front line, so you don't miss out. Just basically means that you can rotate round the prestige enough to then catch up the ranks that you may have missed by missing playing those weeks, whereas anybody else playing it can't. They'll just stop. So that kind of makes it a bit fairer. But why would you even want to bother with that? Well, you get all the extra credits and consumables and all that kind of stuff for going through the different ranks. But in addition, there's going to be reward tanks, special reward tanks available, which you can use your prestige points to exchange for those reward tanks. Now, some of them are nothing special. Well, they're all tier 8s. Oh, they're not. Tier 8s and tier 9s, actually. So the more points you have, the more valuable and attractive tank you can take. So the first level, you can get a Japanese premium tier 8 medium, the ST82. You could also get the next tier up will be the WZ111111, the tier 8 Chinese heavy tank. Then excitement, you get a chance to buy the tier 8 Emil 1951. This is the premium tier 8 Swedish heavy tank. It hasn't hit, we haven't seen it yet. It's been in super test for a while. It's basically like an Emil 1 but premiumized, right? So that's a good thing. You got a chance to win that, purchase it with your rewards. And then the fourth vehicle, we don't even know what it is yet. That's a secret tier 9 tank. So we'll know more about that later once they tell us more about the session. So kind of that's great. It says choose wisely because prestige points you will earn. You can only afford a maximum of 2 vehicles. So there you go. That's in black and white. This is all Harkonnen. He's generally very, very accurate. He must have, I don't know, must speak to the right people in Minsk to get this information. Now, map rebalancing. There was I think last season when it played, or when they played it before, people got wise to the maps, and initially it was fairly balanced, and then it seemed to get very much in favour of the defending team. And Wargaming looked at the stats, and they're trying to change some of that. So these are some of the balancing they've done for the new season. Reduce the durability of the main objectives. Remove a number of defensive positions giving excessive advantages. Because there were, if I remember rightly, there were some really good defensive positions for the defender. Block several tracks providing safe access behind the enemy lines. So there were some sort of corridors where you could go in mountains, between mountains and things, to get round behind the defender and behind the attacker. And often it was the often it was the defender pushing down, getting behind the attacking main lines, destroying all their artillery, and basically preventing them being able to go anywhere. And there was one particular sector, I forget which one it was, whereas if the defender pushed hard enough, they could get to a point where they overlooked the spawn point. So you spawn back and immediately get killed by all these defenders sitting there, which wasn't terribly fun. And a couple of times I was on that one, and that was the only zone I could go back in. I just waited because there was no point. I sat there waiting, not playing the game, waiting until somebody else died in another sector and I could jump into that sector and have a chance to actually get going. So hopefully they've removed that. In some zones, the terrain around the bases is changed in favour of the attacking team. Good, that's what I'm talking about, I think. Remove a number of attacking positions, provoking a passive game. Okay, so that means there's less places where the attacker can camp, which again is good because the attacker is supposed to attack, believe it or not. Based on the statistics we've obtained, we've made some slight changes. Changing the location of some of the resupply points, so that's where you could recharge your damage on the tank, reload your tanks, ammunition, etc. Blocked a number of imbalanced firing positions previously used as vantage points for attacking the respawn, so that's exactly what I was talking about. There are a couple of places where the defending side could get and overlook the spawn sites, and so it was a horrible situation. You got killed, you went back to the garage, took out your next tier 8, popped back into the game, and only to arrive straight as you materialised some mad Doctor Who, only gets shot by 3 enemy tanks that are sitting there overlooking the respawn, which was pretty crap. Significantly increased damage inflicted on vehicles that haven't left the inactive zone. So remember also, as you took each of the attacking fronts was divided into 3. As you took that front, as the attacker took a front, the defender had to get out in a certain time frame before they were effectively airstruck by the attacking, I don't know, it must be attacking aircraft. So I don't remember it being terribly light, actually. If I remember right, you got pretty hammered, most times killed by those aircraft, but obviously it wasn't enough, so now you definitely will get killed. It's slight enhanced combat abilities for Smokescreen and Inspire. I think those were underutilized things within the boosters that you could use in the game, and they've slightly reduced the damage for airstrike and artillery strike. So clearly, again, most people must have been using airstrike and artillery strike rather than using smoke and inspire. Actually, I thought Aspire was a really good one for artillery, also for light tanks. Smokescreen was a really good one. If you could use a smokescreen wisely, you get, as the attacker, you could get into the cap really nicely. Now the challenge was, if you got smokescreen and you were the defender, it's less useful for you. But hey, and you didn't know, of course, which one you're going to be, attacker or defender. Also, in the new season, the map will be optimized to ensure stable performance, because there were a few issues. People did moan about FPS and so forth, so they've done a lot of work to try and stabilize that, which is great. And of course, what if you don't have a tier 8? Well, you can rent one, you lovely people. You can rent one for the duration of the Frontlines. Is that for just the season? Yeah, just the season. You can rent through credits, and then 2 base vehicles can be available for rent for credits, and then 2 premium vehicles will be available for rent for gold in each episode. All in all, there'll be 10 premium vehicles provided. Each episode, the pair of tanks available will vary. So there you go. So if you didn't have one, or you wanted to use a premium and you don't have a premium tier 8 because of the extra boosters, you can rent it for gold if you happen to have enough gold. Don't know how much that's going to be. We shall have to find out. But there you go. Frontlines is coming back, and special tanks available if you play it. The Emil, and then something mysterious at tier 9. And that's got to be a good thing, right? Not the tier 9, I mean, and Frontlines. I loved Frontlines. It was so much fun. Anyway, thought you'd like to hear that. If you found it useful, click like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And in the meantime, enjoy your games. Whatever you're playing, have fun. Try not to take it too seriously. And I will see you again soon. This is Gamer Dom, signing off.